everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about acceptance versus support and if there is actually a difference. And there is a fundamental big difference between the two. The idea to this topic came around when I had somebody stay around after one of my support groups, and this individual has, expressed struggle coming out to their parent, and their parent not really demonstrating any kind of acceptance and any kind of support. And that led to this discussion, the difference between acceptance versus support. And I thought, this is a really great topic to talk about because sometimes we don't really think about these differences, but there are differences. So as we know, when we're transitioning, and especially when we're coming out to our loved ones, we really seek that acceptance and support because it's important for us to feel like we belong. It's important for us to feel like we're loved, and it's important for us to have that familial support in order to move on with our transitions. And a lot of times people get really heartbroken and frustrated if they don't get acceptance and support. And I would like to explain to you that they do fall into two different categories. And the difference would look something like this. Sometimes your parents or your loved ones, and usually this is your parents won't necessarily accept your new gender identity, meaning it contradicts their inner beliefs. Maybe they have some old type of stereotypical notions about gender. Maybe they're still not educated enough in understanding what gender dysphoria is and that it is a medical condition. So as a result, or maybe they even come from a very strong religious background and they were taught that gender diversity is sinful and bad. So as a result, your parents may struggle, or your loved one, but usually again parents, may struggle with acceptance, meaning they may not really accept what you're doing with your life. They may not really themselves accept what you're going through, but they may still support you. Now that's where the fundamental difference lies. They can be incredibly supportive and be there for you, but may not be in agreement with what you're doing in your life. Now remember, support comes in different shapes and sizes. Sometimes we don't necessarily need people to agree what we're doing to support us, right? Sometimes we just need them to acknowledge that I don't really agree with what you're doing, but I'm there for you. And that's what sometimes a lot of parents do. And that's a big difference. And sometimes we get very riled up needing that combination of acceptance and support. And when we don't get it, we get incredibly upset. Well, there are very two different things. And if you can get both, that's wonderful. But sometimes and chances are often, you won't get both. You're going to get either one or you're going to get another. Okay? Or sometimes you'll get the opposite. You'll get somebody who's really acceptant of what you're doing, but they're not willing to support you. So you see how there's a big difference. So a really good metaphor I like to use is getting a tattoo, right? So when I decided, well, I don't actually have any tattoos, but when I expressed to my mom, I really want to get a tattoo. I want to get an Ouroboros symbol right here on my wrist. My mom actually was really, really against it. So that was lack of acceptance. She said, if you do it, I completely disagree. I don't really think it's appropriate. I don't think you need to get tattoos. So she projected onto me all of this idea she has about tattoos. But then she said, but if you really want to do it, and it's something that means so much to you, go for it. So that's her indication of support. So do you see how she still wasn't accepting? And if today I get a tattoo, she'll never accept it. Probably until, the end of my life, she'll never accept that I got a tattoo. But she'll be supportive about it because she understands that I am an adult and I'm my own individual. So a lot of times it's like this, especially with parents. They won't accept what you're doing, but they will support you. So it is important to separate the two, because if we get fixated on having absolutely both of those two, it can become very difficult, and a lot of times we won't get both of them. And we have to respect their lack of acceptance too, because they have their own values, and sometimes they don't really need to bend or reshape their values in order to support us or to be there for us. I don't really need my mom to fully reshape her own ideas about what tattoo means for me to get one. All I need is for her to acknowledge that this is my decision and I'm an adult, and support is all I need at this time. So keep in mind that acceptance and support are a lot of times two completely different things. It's important, I think, when you're transitioning especially, to get support versus acceptance. Because acceptance, that's something you can give yourself. Now I understand support is also something you can give yourself, but it's much better when you get support from somebody else, especially in early stages of transition when it can be incredibly difficult. So hopefully now you can see the difference between acceptance versus support. If you're watching this, comment below, let me know whether your parents or your loved ones fall into one category or another. How do you see these differences in terms of acceptance and support? And what's more important to you? Being accepted or being supported by your loved ones? And how do you see those two differences? Comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.